There are 3 of them, American soldiers, held in a building you can't find on any map, in a country the U.S. military officially has no presence in. They've been missing for 6 days. The Pentagon says negotiations are ongoing. The State Department says they're making progress. Both of them are lying. The intelligence says the men holding them are going to execute all 3 within the next 18 hours. Not negotiate, not release, execute, on camera, to make a point. The military can't go in, too visible, too risky. If American boots are spotted on the ground, it becomes an international incident, a war. Thousands of lives, billions of dollars, years of consequences. So they call someone else. They call you. No uniform, no rank, no backup. No government that will acknowledge you exist if this goes sideways. Your team is 6 people in a city of 4 million. You have 18 hours to find 3 men in a country actively trying to kill you. The military couldn't do this. The CIA's regular officers couldn't do this. You're not regular. You are Ground Branch. The Special Activities Division's direct action arm, the unit that doesn't exist. The capability the U.S. government can't acknowledge. The weapon they deploy when every other option has already failed. Most people will never know this mission happened. The soldiers you're about to find will never know who saved them. That's fine. That's the job. But before we get to the operation, you need to understand what it took to put you in that room, what they made you into, and what it cost. This is not a story about soldiers. It's a story about the people who go in when soldiers can't. No rules, no recognition, no record that any of this ever happened. Just a mission, a clock, and a choice that was made long before you walked into that building. To understand what happened in those 18 hours, you need to understand what you are, not who. What? Because the person who walked into that city wasn't born. They were built, piece by piece, in a place that doesn't appear on any official government directory, through a process that would concern a psychologist and impress a weapons designer. They took everything you were and replaced it with something else. Here's what that looks like. The briefing happens in a room with no windows. There are no introductions, no handshakes. A man in a suit slides a folder across the table. 3 photographs, 3 names, 3 American soldiers who disappeared 6 days ago during what was officially logged as a training exercise in a country the U.S. military officially has no presence in, officially. The folder also contains satellite imagery. A building in the east of the city, 3 stories, reinforced doors, armed guards rotating every 4 hours, and a single line of intelligence that changes everything. Execution, 18 hours. The man in the suit closes the folder. The military has been ruled out, too visible. Any movement of American forces in this region gets picked up within hours. Satellite coverage, human intelligence networks. The wrong people are watching. If uniformed soldiers cross that border, it doesn't become a rescue mission. It becomes a war. The State Department has been ruled out. Negotiations require leverage. You have none. The group holding these men doesn't want money, doesn't want a prisoner exchange. They want something the U.S. will never give them. They've already decided what happens when the deadline passes. The negotiators just don't know it yet. Which is why you're here. 6 operators. No uniforms, no military equipment, cover identities already built, local currency, local clothes, vehicles waiting at a staging point 40 miles from the city. You'll enter separately. Different cover stories, different entry points. If this goes wrong, and wrong means anything from a blown cover to a firefight in a residential neighborhood, the U.S. government will deny this operation exists. They will deny your team exists. Your families will be told something clean and simple, an accident, a health episode, something with paperwork. There will be no rescue mission for the rescuers. You have 18 hours. The intelligence on the building is 36 hours old. The guard rotation may have changed. The location of the hostages within the building is unknown. The number of armed personnel inside is estimated at between 15 and 25. Estimated. Nobody has been inside. The man in the suit looks at you. This is a volunteer mission. Anyone who wants out walks out now. No consequences. No record. Nobody moves. He nods, slides one more document across the table. A single printed page. No letterhead. No signature. Just the coordinates and a timestamp. You memorize it. He burns it. You have 18 hours to find 3 men in a city of 4 million people. No backup. No air support. No one coming if this goes wrong. The clock starts now. What you don't know yet, what none of you know, is that the intelligence is already wrong, and the building you're heading toward is nothing like what they described. You enter the city at 6 in the morning, separately. An hour apart, different checkpoints, different covers. You're a logistics consultant. Your partner is an engineer working for a European construction firm. Another guy is a journalist, real credentials, real company websites that answer if anyone calls, real business cards with real phone numbers. You don't look at each other when you pass on the street. The first 12 hours produce nothing. The satellite location is wrong. The building in the photograph is there. The coordinates are accurate. But when your forward man walks past it twice, the guard rotation is gone. No weapons visible. A family has laundry hanging from the 3rd floor window. Either the prisoners were moved, or the intelligence was bad from the start. Both options are problems. You have 6 hours left. This is where most operations die. The plan fails. The intelligence fails. And the people who sent you are already drafting the language they'll use when the bodies surface. You don't have the luxury of that conversation. You go back to 0. You start working sources. A police lieutenant who operates in the Eastern District. He doesn't know who you are. He knows your money is real. You've been paying him for small information for 2 days. Building trust he doesn't realize he's been building. You ask him about armed groups operating in residential buildings, anywhere in the east of the city. He gives you 4 locations, old information, things he already knows, things that cost him nothing to share. One of them is interesting. A warehouse complex near the river, officially registered to a textile import company that hasn't filed paperwork in 3 years. Police have been told to leave it alone. He doesn't know why. He doesn't want to know why. You pass the location without stopping. Drive past twice in different vehicles. The building is larger than described. 4 stories, not 3. Loading dock on the south side. 2 guards visible at the front entrance. Different weapons than the briefing said. AKMs, not the PKMs they were expecting. But the rotation is every 4 hours. Consistent. That means structure. That means someone inside is running a professional operation. Your comms guy picks up a radio frequency. Local encryption. Not sophisticated. Military surplus from a country that isn't supposed to be involved in this region. He can't decrypt the content. But the signal strength puts the transmission source somewhere on the 3rd or 4th floor. You have a building. You have 4 hours and 40 minutes. Your team leader makes the call. No time to wait for confirmation from Langley. No time for the message to travel through the chain and come back approved. By the time that happens, the deadline has passed. This decision gets made in a parking garage, 6 operators standing around a vehicle with local plates, in a city that would kill every one of you if they knew who you were. You vote. It takes 11 seconds. Unanimous. There's one more problem. Your forward man walked the perimeter twice. The loading dock on the south side has a vehicle backed up against it, a large truck, engine warm, not delivering anything, not picking anything up, just sitting there with a warm engine in the middle of the afternoon. They're already planning to move them. Not in 4 hours. Sooner. You don't have until the deadline. You have until whenever that truck decides to leave. And once those soldiers are in that vehicle, moving through a city of 4 million people, they're gone. You will never find them again. Nobody will. The assault moves up. 4 a.m. becomes now. You have 90 minutes to plan an operation that should take weeks. What happens inside that building in the next 2 hours will never appear in any report, any news broadcast, or any official record. But it will determine whether 3 men come home, 6 operators, 2 vehicles, local plates. You park 90 seconds from the building, close enough to move fast, far enough that nobody connects the vehicles to what's about to happen. Weapons are under blankets on the back seats. MP7s, suppressed, nothing American, nothing that traces back. You walk the final distance, no talking, no radios unless necessary. Hand signals only. The city is as quiet as it gets at this hour, which means it's not quiet at all. Dogs, a television somewhere above, a man arguing with someone on a phone 2 streets over. You filter it all out. You've trained for this 1,000 times. Your body knows what to do before your mind catches up. The front entrance has 2 guards. One is alert. Weapon up, scanning, former military by the way he stands. The other is watching something on his phone, rifle slung across his back like it's luggage. The alert one dies first. Suppressed MP7, 2 rounds. He folds against the wall without a sound. The second guard looks up. He has maybe 1 second to understand what he's seeing. He doesn't get to use it. You're inside. Ground floor is a loading area. Crates, machinery. The truck is still backed against the dock, engine cold now. You miscalculated the timeline. That's fine. It means they're still here. You move toward the stairs. 4 of you go up. 2 hold the ground floor. No one leaves this building until you say so. Second floor. A hallway. 4 doors. 1 open. The room is empty. The second door opens from the inside. A man with an AK steps out and sees you. He gets 1 round off before he drops. The round goes into the ceiling. The building wakes up. Voices above. Movement. Someone shouting a name. You hear boots on the floor above you. Now it's fast. Room to room, doorway to doorway. Anyone holding a weapon dies. No exceptions, no hesitation. You've been in firefights with more chaos than this. In places with no visibility, no intelligence, no backup. This is manageable. This is work. 3rd floor. The hallway is longer than the floors below. 5 doors. Light coming from under the last one at the far end. You can hear voices inside, 2 of them. Then a 3rd voice, quieter. Different accent. American. The door is reinforced, steel frame. Someone planned this. Someone knew what they were protecting. You place the breaching charge. Signal your partner. He pulls the pin on the flashbang. 3, 2, 1. The door comes off its frame. The flashbang detonates. You're inside before the smoke clears. 2 guards, both down before they raise their weapons. 3 soldiers, zip-tied to support beams along the far wall, blindfolded. 2 of them are upright. 1 is slumped, barely conscious. All 3 are alive. You pull the blindfold off the nearest one. He looks at you, at your clothes, at the weapon in your hands. He can't figure out what he's looking at. No uniform, no rank, no unit patch. Just a man in local clothes with a suppressed weapon standing in a room that was supposed to be a prison. He asks who you are. You don't answer. You cut the zip ties. You tell him to stand. You tell him there are 2 vehicles outside, and he has 60 seconds to get to them. He stands. The exfil takes 14 minutes. Every checkpoint out of the city has been handled. Bribes placed 12 hours earlier by your forward team. Every gate opens. Every guard looks away. They're on a plane within 5 hours. Home within 10. The building behind you is already a crime scene. You're already gone. The news breaks 14 hours later. 3 American soldiers rescued after being held by an armed militant group. Diplomatic pressure, back-channel negotiations, a coordinated effort between the State Department and regional partners. The Secretary of State gives a press conference. He thanks the governments involved. He praises the patience and professionalism of American diplomats. Nobody mentions the building. Nobody mentions the 8 men your team left on 3 floors of a warehouse in the east of the city. Nobody mentions the breaching charge, the flashbang, the 14-minute exfil through a city that would have killed you on sight. Nobody mentions the police lieutenant who is $30,000 richer and will never speak about a conversation that officially never happened. The official story is the only story. That's how it always works. You're in a hotel room in a third country when you watch the press conference. Different passport, different name. Coffee going cold on the nightstand. One of your teammates is asleep on the other bed. He was awake for 41 hours. He's been asleep for 3. His boots are still on. You watch the Secretary of State talk about diplomacy. You don't feel angry. Anger would mean you expected something different. You stopped expecting things years ago. Recognition, acknowledgement, a record somewhere that says your name and what you did. None of that exists. None of it ever will. Here's what the price actually looks like. Your daughter is 12 years old. She thinks you work in international consulting. She stopped asking questions about your job when she was 9. Not because she lost interest, because she learned that questions don't get answered. She's adjusted to a father who disappears for months at a time and comes back quieter than he left. She's learned to not mention it. That's not a small thing. Your left shoulder hasn't worked properly since a hard landing in a country that doesn't appear in your service record. You manage it. You compensate. You've gotten good at hiding the things that are broken because the moment you stop hiding them, you're behind a desk. And a desk is the end of something you don't know how to name. 2 members of your team from 3 years ago are gone. One took a round in a city you'll never name. The official story was a training accident. His family got a flag and a phone call. His daughter was 7. The other one didn't take a bullet. He just stopped, slowly, quietly. The way some men do when they've carried something too heavy for too long. He doesn't answer calls anymore. You think about him sometimes. You think about what happens when a person has been made into something precise and dangerous and then isn't needed anymore. What they do with all of it, where it goes. You don't have an answer. You finish the coffee. Your teammate wakes up, looks at the ceiling for a moment, then sits up and asks if there's a debrief today. There is. You both know how it goes. You go in. You report what happened. Every detail. Every decision. Every body. The report goes into a system under a code word that will be destroyed in 5 years. No names, no faces, no record that you were ever there. Then you go home until the next call. There is a wall in Langley. White marble. 139 stars carved into it. Each one is a CIA officer who died in service to a country that will never say their name out loud. Some stars have names beneath them. Officers whose deaths could be acknowledged, whose families could grieve in public, whose sacrifice could be pointed to. Others have nothing, just the star. You know some of those blank ones. The comms guy who disappeared in a city you were both working in, 3 years apart. His mother still keeps his phone number in her contacts. She calls it sometimes. She thinks there's a chance. There isn't. The team leader from a direct action mission in a country that officially saw no American presence that year. He was the best operator you ever worked with. His star has no name. His kids think he died in a training accident. That's what they were told. That's what they'll always believe. There is a book of honor on a stand in front of the wall. It contains the names of officers who can be named. The ones who can't are represented by the stars above them. No dates, no locations, no explanations, just the geometry of a 5-pointed shape cut into stone. When you die, and the probability is not small, your family will be told something quiet and clean. A health episode, an accident, something with paperwork and a plausible explanation. There will be no flag-draped coffin, no 21-gun salute, no burial at Arlington with full honors. Just a star, no name underneath it. And eventually, everyone who knew what that star means will be gone too. The teammates who were in the room with you, the handlers who sent you, the analysts who built the intelligence. One by one, they disappear. And when the last of them goes, the star is just a star, a shape on a wall, a thing tourists photograph on their way to the gift shop. The 3 soldiers you pulled out of that warehouse will go home. They'll recover. They'll return to their units, or they'll separate and build something new. They'll tell the story of what happened to them, the fear, the waiting, the moment the door came off its frame and someone cut their zip ties. They'll describe the man who freed them. No uniform, no rank, no answer when they asked who he was. Just a man in local clothes with a suppressed weapon who told them to stand up and move. They'll wonder about him for years. They'll never find an answer. Because there is no answer. There is no record. There is only the work. Those 3 soldiers came home. They went back to their families, their lives, the ordinary world that kept moving while they were chained to a beam in a building nobody could find. They came home because 6 people who don't exist walked into a city that wanted them dead, found a building that wasn't where the intelligence said it was, and made a decision in a parking garage that nobody authorized and nobody will ever acknowledge. No medals, no record, no name on a wall. Just a star, and the quiet certainty that somewhere right now, a phone is ringing in a room with no windows. A folder is sliding across a table. A clock is starting, and someone who is built for exactly this moment is already moving. The world will never know. Maybe that's the point. Or maybe the most important question isn't what these people do. Maybe it's what we owe them for doing it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want more stories about the people who operate in the shadows, the ones history never names, subscribe. There are more of them than you think.